Monster collecting fans on Xbox can rejoice. A wild Temtem has appeared. Developed by Krima and published by Humble Games, Temtem is an always-online creature collection adventure game. Much in the vein of Pokemon, and to a lesser extent Yokai Watch, Digimon, etc., Krima's latest title is all about leading your player character, a newly made Temtem Tamer, to adventure out into the vast islands that make up the game called the Airborne Archipelago, and do what any good tamer does: tame Temtem. The game has been in the making for quite a while. It first made rounds through Steam's early access program on PC for over 2 years. And now September marks its full 1.0 release alongside its console debut on Xbox, making its bed right alongside the likes of Ooblets and Nexomon. Yes, the console wasn't without its own Pokemon likes, but I think this game makes for a far stronger offering for the platform thanks to the content available and the social connectivity that intertwines in between said content. Find out more in the XboxEra review of Temtem.
Come on board and let's Temtem up. Don't miss the ride, I'll be your eye. We'll have fun together, hey. Now it's time.
At the very heart of Temtem is its battle system. It would be a bit presumptuous of me to assume the reader knows how to play a Pokemon game, but doing so lets me get to the more interesting parts of the game: its stamina system, techniques, and move behavior. Temtem's turn-based gameplay is based on your cute little monster's availability moveset against a limited amount of stamina available to them at the beginning of battle. Depending on the move used, the bar drains quickly, and exceeding stamina usage causes your creature to overexert and damage themselves, making them vulnerable, which in turn leaves the trainer in an awkward position. Certain moves are also unavailable when a monster is summoned to battle, ensuring that high damage moves aren't available for immediate use and leaving for a more fairer fight. I like this system a lot. It gives players, trainers, and Temtem alike a lot of room to make a comeback from a weaker position. The AI benefits from the system just as much as the player does, even when it does lead to some annoying situations, like a wild monster KOing itself before you have a chance to catch it. But I feel it ends up leading to fights that feel less still, and lends to better pacing as a whole, such as encouraging monster swaps whenever possible or allowing items to be used in a larger cadence. There's also interesting strategies on how you can use a move, such as pairing up particular species of monsters to power up certain moves, or positioning certain attacks that chain between Temtem. There's a lot of fun to be had in the game's combat system. Besides taming and battling, players can also breed Temtem, but that stuff was never my forte. If you're interested, there are plenty of guides out there on getting that perfect specimen. I was more than satisfied with just taming and leveling up with what I had. Speaking of leveling up, I do have some gripes about how experience is distributed to fallen creatures, but I'll chalk that up to one of the rules of the game, even if it does get a bit frustrating. Now, Temtem is a massively multiplayer online role-playing game, an MMO, which means you need a constant internet connection, as well as an active Xbox Live or Game Pass Ultimate subscription. And in this game's case, the online aspect is crucial for the title, as I would have had less interest in continuing without it. Yes, the gameplay is solid, but being able to see other players and interact with them in such a seamless way is very satisfying. There are plenty of others chatting in global chat, offering help, or just having fun, and enforced crossplay means that the pool of players will always be at its maximum. The service has been pretty stable too, and the game will recover from crashes a fair bit better than I expected, even when the player was in battle or even if they were simply resuming quick resume. Of course, as an MMO, you get to be creative with yourself. The game's character creator is solid, and there's a lot of features you can play around with. I think you can really feel at home with yourself here, even if there aren't hundreds of sliders available. There's also a housing mechanic once you've taken on the appropriate side quest, and there's plenty of those to go around, trust me. As for battle seekers, completed dojos, think gyms, can be challenged again weekly for more difficult experiences, and obviously for more rewards. Now the downside to being an MMO is that progression feels much slower than a single player experience. Making money in Temtem, for example, can take a while, and the game will eat up your hard-earned currency. Whether it's clothing that's caught your eye or simply losing a battle, saving up can be a task. Mind, this will never halt progress in the story for players, but being part of any game with heavy social aspects, you're encouraged to stand out. If you've completed the main campaign, there's the Tamer Pass that you can consider buying that will unlock additional bonuses and other cosmetics not found elsewhere. It's not a bad idea, especially when you can spend a lot of time playing the game, but it does make me a little curious about future content updates and how they'll be rolled out. For me, Temtem's strong foundation is what kept me coming back, but the game wasn't without its issues. Going through the main campaign, I didn't really care for the characters, much less the dialogue, which thankfully nearly all of it can be skipped by holding the B button. I didn't like how the map was set up and how objectives were placed within it. The visuals were too clean for my liking, and the Temtem designs literally lack texture and leave me feeling unsatisfied. To be fair though, monster design is hard to pull off, and some of my favorites from other games are basically abominations. But without the gameplay tied to the exceedingly well thought social aspects, I don't think I'd care for the game as much as I do. I do, however, have questions about the game's future content plans, especially in conjunction with the game's monetization and MMO aspect. There are features in the works, and they'll be added later on according to the developers, such as competitive modes and seasonal events. But I'd love to see them change their minds here and add more content, such as new regions and more Temtem. A live service fits this title very well, and it'd be a shame to stop at just modes. Temtem has a lot of content to crawl through, and it makes for a great MMO. Sure, it's not the most charming monster collecting game, but it's certainly one of the best I've seen from a Western developer yet.